H-Ugs. It's the latest episode of The Ugly Truth. Today, I tell Paula about producer Dub and I going out to dinner for the first time in months. It was not without its awkward moments, of course. I have a suggestion for Paula finding a new boyfriend. It's Home Depot. This and our spray tanning, ugly and awkward moments of the week. Thank you so much for listening. Enjoy the show.
It's another uncensored look at the world around you, from sisters who will say just about anything to anyone at any time. It's the Uggs. Jamie?
I didn't say I was perfect. I fuck up a lot.
Paula?
I have hair in my butt crack that I need to pull out.
Uncensored as always, it's time for the Ugly Truth.
Welcome to The Ugly Truth. This is episode 472. Ugh. Ugh. Oh, that's a nice low register. Calming.
Calming. It's my ASMR Ugg.
When people do.
Should I be crinkling paper now, like my hair?
Yeah.
My nails. I can't do it.
Yeah,
I have my
I
filter
can't do
on.
it either. Sorry.
God, we're the worst AMSR people. I don't even know what ASMR is. Was it I don't even know what it stands for.
I've recently learned about the ASMR thing because I guess there are actually podcasts, like 5-minute podcasts, where they only do ASMR.
I saw this girl once. Well, the kids made me watch it. God. It was on YouTube. I want to say it was like 20 minutes long. They thought it was hilarious because she looked so weird. And she was doing all these things. Like she was clanking her nails on things. And she was like unscrewing jar lids.
It's like the sound is soothing. Is that what it is? It's a soothing.
Just making these different sounds.
These really clean, cutting sounds that people think, oh, that sounds so good.
I guess like white noise, but with like real things. She did a lot of things with her nails, and
that's almost like a kink, isn't it?
Well, they were showing it to me. They were young, but I'm just like, this is some freak nasty shit. And so I can just picture some guy laying in his bed jerking off.
Oh,
and then gonna take a nap. But
ew,
I'm
shame.
I'm like, I don't think it's her noises that go on for 20 minutes. I think he jerks off and then falls asleep listening to her fucking nails.
I would say the cleavage with her tapping her fingers on that board is what's doing it for someone, and they're gonna bang one out and then they're gonna start crying in shame and sleep in the refractory period.
Okay, well, for starters, it was also a YouTube, and she wasn't ugly, and she had these very long, like flesh-colored nails, and so I was just like,
that's a category, I'm sure.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Probably a new one, and I think that's why it had like freaking 10 million views.
That's a lot of masturbating.
Well, I was just thinking, I'm like, good for you, girl. Good
for sure.
Smart, just sitting there with your nails.
I can get my nails done and bang boards. That'd be easy.
Tuna can lid and a jar.
No problem. I have all of those things at home. I could easily do that for money.
That reminds me of the time Stephanie and I were going to sell
underwear
old socks on eBay. No, we were never going to do the underwear.
Oh, you're going to just do socks?
We were just going to do socks. But Stephanie's like, we have to take pictures of our like socks.
Leg hands.
Yes, our leg hands in the socks. And I'm just like, I think that's what deterred us from doing it.
God. Okay, so before we get to our first subject, we got a letter.
Oh!
I wanted to read it to you. I'm loving you guys sending letters about feedback about the show. Like, I legit think it's fun. And I will read them every time you send them. So if you don't want me to say your name, just don't say your name. But I'm going to. This one's really cute. It's from Kaylee. She says, okay, I just listened to Ugly Truth and had to pull over because the same type of funeral situation happened with my sister and me at our grandma's funeral. A horrid version of Ave Maria that my uncle insisted on. My sister and I took one look at each other and started laughing with no sound to the point of tears. People behind us came up to us after the service and mentioned how upset we both were. We laughed about it again afterwards because we grew up with gallows humor too. Thank you for the memory jog.
Oh, funny.
I know.
Oh my God.
Now I know. You know what? Not surprising. I mean, the kind of people we attract to this show.
God, you know what? I wonder if we could like get a website dedicated to like funeral humor. Like, well, that might be kind of sick, but.
By the way, I don't remember. Oh, when I was doing some research on gallows humor because I was like, what is the actual definition? And I was looking at all this stuff, and it's basically joking around in what's seemingly a hopeless situation, which is like our lives. So that's why we crack jokes all the time. But then I came across a dead baby Reddit. It's like it became dark humor, and there's a lot of like dead baby jokes or Holocaust jokes and stuff like that, and it's dark shit. I mean, I would never repeat it in mixed company, but I did read them and kind of laugh at some of them, but not all of them, just some of them. I do have some kind of moral compass.
Like Victor said, he told me, because he says when he's overseas, like during deployments and stuff, he says they have really dark sense of humor.
Oh, yeah.
He's like, you kind of have to. Because,
sure. It's a coping.
You see some really bad shit. And so he's just like, sometimes their sense of humor gets like real bad.
And somebody finally goes, you know what, Shane, that was a little over the line.
No, never happens. Never happens.
Really?
And so sometimes the things like I joke about with him, or I tell him, or, I'll be like, hey, guess what? And I'll just do that. He's like, God, Paula. He's just like, if I didn't know better, I would have sworn you've been to like Iraq or something.
Well, I mean, haven't we? I mean, have we not? I mean, my God.
We've been to war,
Hey, that's really funny that he said that. You know why? Because when Daryl and I are conversing, and I'll mention my sisters about what in all the time, but he'll say, you guys aren't really sisters. And I'm like, excuse me? He goes, you guys are like veterans.
We're like
war
buddies.
Veterans. He goes, that's what you are. All four of you have somehow turned into these grizzled war veterans that only each other would understand your plight. And that's why you're so tight.
It's true.
And I'm like, yeah, you're right. But that's all right.
That time when Dad beat us so bad that no, just kidding. We start laughing.
And then we laugh. Remember that time he took our dog and threw it across the room by its ears, and we
were so happy when she ran back in the house. We're like, Tabby! But she just had that funny limp, but eventually it went away. Oh, my God, we were so relieved.
God.
Yeah, actually, she looks really cute because she had just gotten a haircut.
Oh, my
God.
God.
She lost the pink bow.
That's okay.
But then we've had it in the front yard later when we were riding our bikes.
You guys! The pink bow!
And then we put it in Allison's hair, and then she's like, I don't want to wear this.
You know what? I was thinking about that because, I mean, when you think about some of the things that we would quote unquote play, you were a baby, but we used to kill Allison's dolls all the time.
Oh, well, by the time I was old enough to remember green beans, I mean, she had holes in the side of her head. She had bruises. She looked like a domestic violence doll with a shaved head, and she should have been on the autopsy table.
The last time we killed green beans, and we had a funeral for her, and Matthew was her husband, and he had to mourn, and Mom, I mean,
well, you said she was doing the dishes, and then she looked out the window and she's like, hey, what are you guys doing?
And then Allison's and Allison, who was very young, and she's like, Mom, Green Beans has died. And she's like, what? She's like, we're having a funeral. Oh my God. She's like, you make your sister's doll alive immediately. God, we're like, and ta-da, she's resurrected. Hooray. Oh,
well,
God.
I remember looking at Olivia's tablet, and I saw her, Malia, and Ryan in the backyard, and I saw a rock with little rocks surrounding it, and on the rock it said R.I.P. And I'm like, what the fuck is this? And they're just like, it was like our grasshopper or our praying mantis or whatever. It died. I'm like, you guys had a funeral in the backyard? It was at your house.
Yes.
And I'm like, where were we? And she's like, you guys were inside talking. And so I'm like, oh my God.
Oh, again, woefully unsupervised.
But get this. And I'm like, who did this? She's like, it was Malia's idea.
I know. I funeralize everything. Everything that dies in this house gets a proper burial.
That's probably where she got it. It wasn't.
Oh, I'm sure. Out of respect, Paula, for the creatures. Okay. Anyway, I thought that was really sweet. Thank you for writing in, Kaylee. I appreciate it. So last week was Daryl's birthday, and right when the week that he had his birthday, all the restaurants are slowly opening up. In Napa specifically. And so we were able to snag a reservation at one of our favorite restaurants in Yountville, which is Bottega. And they, guaranteed social distancing and all that other stuff. I said, yeah, let's go. So we went, and we were all by ourselves in a little alcove in front of a fountain, completely separate from any other diners. Everybody was real separate. There was probably like maybe 20 or 30 patrons. It was real sparse. Because they were keeping everybody really far apart. I have to tell you, that can stay around forever, by the way.
Yeah, really.
There is nothing better than having privacy when you're having a dinner. I mean, we've seen, in New York or other real big cities, you're shoulder to shoulder with other people.
Yeah.
Like, there's no privacy. So God forbid you're going to have a serious discussion. You better not, because everyone's going to hear you. But now, everyone's super far apart. You can have whatever discussions you want. It was great. And so that part was amazing. We got a waiter, Dawn, and Dawn was our waiter a couple of times before, like a year or two ago.
Wait, Dawn as in a boy's name?
Yes, Don.
Okay.
Yes,
Not
and
like the soap. Okay.
No, not Dawn liquid soap. Dawn, like just Don Draper from Mad Men. So here's what's funny: he shows up, and I remember him. And the reason I remember him is he looks like Tyrese. He's really cute.
Ooh.
Really handsome.
Does he have like the hoop earrings and everything?
He has teeny little gauges. He's real good looking. And so what I also remembered about him the last time was, and producer Deb knows all this. This is not secret because we talked about it, because he smelled really, really good. And he had a huge, big gold watch on the last time. And I just remember going, wow, that looks really nice. So he shows up and he's like, hi, I'm Don. I'll be taking care of you today. Thank you for coming in. You know, all new stuff. And I'm like, oh, this is so amazing. Thank you. And I remembered him. I didn't remember his name, but I remembered him.
You're like, hi, Tyrese. He's like, no, my name is Don.
Oh, yeah.
Your pony right next to me, riding my pony.
He remembered us and he goes, oh, I remember you guys. And I'm like, you do? And I go, I remember you too. You're not wearing the gold watch this time. He goes, no, it was too clunky. It was getting everything. So now he has this really nice slim watch on. And so he leaves to get our cocktails. Reverend Daryl looks at me kind of dead eye. He's like,
kind of like, what are you doing?
he's like, wonder why he remembers us. I'm like, I don't know. Why do you think he remembers us? I go, did you tip well? I'm sure that's what it was. And he said, well, it was fine. But I mean, I don't remember what I tipped, but I'm sure it was fine.
Was Tits McGee on assignment that night?
Tits McGee was in full force. Yes, she was there. And so I said, no. I said, I think I know why he remembers us, though, because the last time we had him as our server, you made the foolish attempt to try to order for me, and I hadn't even decided what I wanted yet. And so I don't mind men ordering for me if it feels comfortable, like it's a natural thing, like maybe it's really busy and it's just easier to get one person just order it and get it over with. But I usually order for myself. And so he was attempting to order for me as if he knew what I wanted. And I said, whoa, don't order for me. And Dawn was standing right there when it happened, the first time. And he's like, oh, sorry. And so he turns to Derry, he goes, we should just let the lady order for the rest of the evening. And it was kind of a joke. You know, we were all joking about it. And so I did. I ultimately ordered everything for the rest of the evening. And then we gave him a really big fat tip because it was really fun. So he remembered us from that. It wasn't me. It was just the situation was really unique because we, you know, when I'm involved or if any of us are involved, it's memorable.
So, and you're against, you're anti-man ordering for you.
Not always. Like I said, sometimes if it's appropriate, I'm cool with it because I know it's very old fashioned.
I find it very sexy for a man to order for me.
Exactly. It is if I've agreed to what I'm, you know, like if I already said, oh, I think I'm going to have this and this is how I want. And if it just feels like that's the natural progression, then I'm cool with it.
I actually had someone order for me when we went to a restaurant, and believe it or not, it was a first date.
Oh.
I felt completely out of my element. The menu was in a different language, and they're just like, well, what do you like to drink? And, you know, I'm not a big drinker. They're like, well, do you like wine? I'm like, not usually. When you do you like red or white? And I'm just like, usually white. And they're like, okay, I know what you like. So they came over. They were speaking different languages.
Oh.
Ordered me a glass of wine. And then they're just like, well, what kind of food do you like? Or do you like spicy? Do you like this? Do you like that? Blah, blah, blah. And so just asked me a bunch of questions. Waitress came back, spoke different languages, took the menus. Next thing I knew, I had food in front of me. And I was just like, okay, I guess I'm eating this.
Did you appreciate that whole thing?
We made it out in the car for like an hour.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So it was a turn on for you.
Well, actually, he reordered me a second glass of wine. That's why we made it in the car for a whole hour. So
no, but in certain circumstances, it's totally fine. And Daryl has absolutely ordered for me at the table before. But, you know, for me, I mean, it can go either way. But unfortunately for Daryl, he doesn't know which way it's going to go until it occurs. So it just so happened that day I did not want him ordering for me, apparently. And the server remembered us from that, which I thought was funny. I mean, he didn't say that, but that's what I recall. I'm sure that's what it was.
I'm sure that made Daryl feel like $100.
Yeah, exactly. And I even remember saying, I'm like, look, I'm not trying to emasculate you or anything, but you don't even know what I want.
He's like, don't worry. Mission accomplished.
I know. Hey, I didn't say I was perfect. I fuck up a lot. So anyway, it was a really nice meal. And of course, because we were over by this little fountain, it was getting kind of dark. We had a candlelight and all that stuff. Of course, on cue, a frog decides to show its presence.
What? Is
right
this outdoors?
Yes, because we're
yeah,
outside.
because you said it was by a waterfall
fountain,
or
a fountain,
oh, okay.
a little fountain. Yeah, it was outside.
Okay.
And so
I was like, I don't know of any waterfalls in Napa or Bodega or whatever you guys.
No, it was a fountain. And then, of course, right on cue, here comes a frog, not hopping, walking on all four legs. And I was like, what is that? And at first I thought it was a rodent. And then I turned and I said, oh, it's a frog. And then it saw me see him. And then it started to hop like a normal. And I'm like, what?
Jeez.
And I said, it's coming towards us. We need to get out of here. I'm like, I can't deal with this freaking
Throw your napkin at it.
animals. Well, it wasn't that close. Anyway, it was a really fun evening. And, it was weird, though, because we didn't realize it had been like 4 months since we'd been out to dinner. It was weird.
Oh my God.
It was so weird.
What about your anniversary?
Oh, you mean my birthday?
Yeah.
Yeah, but that was different.
Okay.
Because it wasn't like there weren't patrons around. We literally had this whole place to ourselves.
Okay.
And yeah, it was different.
That didn't count.
Well, in the traditional sense of going and having a hostess seat you and having, it was just had been a really long time. And so it was felt kind of weird.
Yeah. 4 months is a long time.
Well, for, not for everybody, but for us it was. And so, it was weird.
Not for commoners, but for people like us.
That's not what I meant. It's a big part of our...
You're such a snoot.
I am not. People go out to dinner all the time. It's just that we hadn't, because we go out like once a week. We were going out to dinner. So
I
anyway,
understand.
I guess there's just no way for me to dig myself out of this hole. It is what it is. So
no, you're an uptight suburbanite bitch.
I am not. Shut your face. Give me a break.
Hey, shut your face.
You just
I
shut
want to
your...
hear you talk. I'll shove my hand up your ass and use you like a puppet.
Shut your flapping lips, Lisa. Okay, so really, I had an observation yesterday that I had to share with you, because when you're ready to really get out there and go on the prowl, I have a suggestion for you.
Oh, good. I can't wait to hear this one.
So you need to get into home projects, whether it's learning how to lay tile or sprinklers or replacing a sink or a toilet, any kind of home projects.
What about laying pipe?
Sure. You need to do it. And because it will require you to go to Home Depot and get assistance in departments, because you're not going to know everything there is to know. And it's not the Home Depot workers per se. It's just that you will be there for an extended period of time. You won't just be walking in, buying something and walking out. You'll be meandering, basically. Daryl and I, he's off this week. And so we're doing a lot of home projects. And so he's fixing some sprinklers and stuff like that. So we were at Home Depot and I started to grow bored, because I can only look at sprinklers for so long before I start to wander off.
Oh my God. How many sprinklers are there?
A lot, but it also, how it is when you own a home or whatever. You go to Home Depot and you get the thing you think you need. You go back and you're like, this isn't the only thing I needed. I needed something else. And you go back to Home Depot 4 times a day before you finally get everything you need.
Yeah, that's true.
He just wanted to make sure we had everything before we left, because we did not want to come back. So anyway, I'm like, I'm bored with this. So I start wandering around the store. Paula, no less than like 6 dudes. And they weren't ugly dudes. They were good looking dudes. And they were contractors. They were plumbers, electricians, like legit commercial workers, and very, very attractive. And I mean, I thought, shit, if I get the looks of these guys, Paula's going to score here, like hardcore score in Home Depot. You need to go to Home Depot, but you have to have a project. You can't just show up and go, well, I don't know what I'm doing here. Like, you need to have a project that you're working on at home, and that will require you to be at the store for more than 10 minutes. And you will no doubt come home with a couple of digits. There's no doubt in my mind.
You want me to be with some guy whose ass crack hangs out?
These guys were so attractive. These are not your stereotypical in the movie.
These guys get old and they get like arthritic.
All men get old.
Bad backs and complain, and then they end up coming home and drinking beer.
I see.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize you were willing to give up your VP professional man who wears suits for the guy
suits.
with like hands that feel like sandpaper.
These guys did not look like that. And first of all, I wasn't trying to find you a husband. I'm just saying.
You said when I'm ready to get out there. What does that mean?
Are you ready to get out there now? Do you want to go get laid?
Okay. There's a difference between ready to get out there and just to go get laid.
Am I missing the vocabulary? What's the difference?
If you want to get laid.
Fine. If you want to get laid, Paula, go to Home Depot with a project. Maybe you want to retile something. I don't know.
I'll just walk around with like a open smoke detector and or like a wrench or something.
Sure. Whatever. All I'm saying is that if guys are looking at me, they will definitely be interested in you.
See, this is the part that makes me sad is, with changing professions, I'll no longer be in like the skirts and stilettos anymore. Now I'll be wearing scrubs.
Some guys like scrubs. They think they're sexy.
I think they look dopey.
Well, you don't have to wear them when you leave.
Oh, no. I'll go home and change and then put in skirts and high heels. Oh, what do you do for a living? I'm a surgical technician. I wear scrubs, so why are you dressed like this?
You're being particularly hard on me today, young lady.
I'm sorry. I just got off my period.
Jesus.
I don't know. Yeah, no, I get it. There are cute boys at Home Depot. I've been there before.
Well, honestly, I was not aware because normally all I see are, little old men trying to repair some kind of pipe, or the older gentleman who is sick of being retired and now they work at Home Depot because they need some time to fill. But this particular day, there was a whole lot of cutie pies working.
See, my problem is I never pay attention. I usually walk with looking down at my feet. I don't know why.
Well, because it feels weird to be there. It's not like your natural setting.
Well, I think if I don't look down at my feet when I'm walking, I'll probably trip. Or I'll hit something. And so
get a basket.
Well, especially at Home Depot.
Baskets are like they're like
I'll
walkers.
Smash into something, but I'll smash into like a display of paint or something like that, or like, oops, I'm sorry.
Anyway, what I'm saying is it was such an epiphany. I was like, okay, Paula definitely needs to find something to do and have to come to Home Depot on a reg because there are some real cute guys here. And I wasn't looking for long-term husbands. I'm just looking for you to just have someone play with your pickle. And this is the place.
Like, oh, I'm here. I was going to paint the fence and sand my floor.
I just need some assistance. I'm replacing a fence plate. Where might I find some wood?
I need a 2x4 to stick in a hole in my fence.
Yes, I have a hole that needs wood planks.
I need some caulk to fill some holes.
Yes, I'm in desperate need of a caulking. I'm in desperate need of caulking.
Do you know what aisle they sell caulk here?
Oh, God.
The stuff that you squirt into holes. I wonder what would happen if I said that to someone.
They would be like, right this way, ma'am. That would be hilarious. I would want to see that happen.
That is. I wonder what they would say. They'd probably be like,
Well, you'd probably get some smart ass and go, yeah, like we've never heard that before.
No, if I just sent it to like a random patron, kind of like the guy that I had, can you close my pocket knife?
Yes.
Wow, that's an interesting knife. I've never seen that one before.
This is a mighty fine knife you have here.
This is the second most common knife on the market. I've never seen this one before. It's really interesting.
God.
Closed it in a snap.
Something happened a while ago and I had to give somebody my ID and I said, oh, I got carded today. He's like, you did? And I said, yes. And I go, that was weird too, because it's not like I don't look 30. I mean, I don't look 100, but I definitely don't look 30. I look older. I look old enough to buy alcohol. And he's like, yeah, it's a real common practice, retail or bars where they know you're old enough, but they take your ID so they can get your name and your birth date and stuff like that, just for, when you come up again, they can say, oh, hi, Jamie. And I said, I didn't know that.
I didn't either.
We're so naive. Like, we don't know.
I got hit on the other day on Facebook. Mm-hmm. This guy sent me a friend request, and I'm just like, I don't know this person. I sent him a message and I'm like, do we know each other? And he's like, no. He's all, it's actually pretty embarrassing. He's like, just go ahead and delete the request. And I'm like, well, now you've got me curious. And I'm like, what is it? And he's just like, well, he's like, you made a comment about the Nunes fight last night.
Yeah.
And he's like, I thought it sounded pretty good. And plus I thought you were kind of hot. So I just wanted to send you a friend request.
Well, that was nice.
I'm like, oh, that's sweet. I'm like, well, I appreciate that. I said, but you're very young and I'm not. So I said, but thank you regardless. He's like, I'm not as young as you think. And I'm like, you look like you're about 29. He's like, well, I'm 31. I'm like, whoa, like big difference.
Not much.
I said, well, I'm 41 and I'm well past whatever you're encroaching on.
Yes.
So
you want a woman who can give you children. It's not me.
yeah, I said, I'd been there, done that.
Yes. Oh, that was nice, though. What a nice little compliment.
And he's all, if you just give me a chance.
Oh, geez. Desperate.
And so I said, okay, I'm like, well, I'll tell you this much. I'm of the age where I can decide that whoever I have sex with has a massive dick and fucks like the platinum suite. Because I can guarantee it will be the best sex they've ever had.
True.
I said, can you guarantee that? And he's just like, yeah. He's like, I'm going to have to back down.
There you go.
I don't think I can. I said, when you're 41, I'm like, you can make those demands.
That is true.
I said, but I'm sure you'll find a sweet girl who you'll marry and have lots of kids with.
Absolutely, because it's not me, sweetie. But that's nice.
I didn't mean to be a dick, but I was just kind of like.
But you know what?
You out of your league here, young
First
man.
of all, sometimes you have to do that because they just will never stop.
True.
They're like little bulldogs. They just don't know when to stop.
I told him to have a nice day, and he's like, okay.
Aw, he's like, thanks, Mom. Anyway, okay, so 'tis the season for summer, and although you aren't yet, some of us are keeping our legs shorn.
Oh, yeah. No, I need to change my razor blade head. Plus, it just takes so damn long. And I'm just like, nobody cares here what my leg hair looks like unless they get really close or they touch them. And God knows that's not going to happen. So Pablo doesn't care.
So if Pablo doesn't care, no one cares. So I don't think tanning beds and tanning salons are open yet, but there's a lot of options where you can buy sprays at the store and spray your own legs and stuff like that. But it reminded me of the time when was it you were getting married? And
yeah. I thought you were talking about the time the four of us went out for drinks at the Hookie Lao.
Wait a minute.
When Stephanie did her own leg tanner.
Wait, okay, tell me, remind me, please.
Do you remember that? When then she got out of the car and then she looked around and she's like, oh my God, my legs! And it was like,
no!
Right at her ankle, and you saw these finger marks like right down by her feet.
I do remember now.
At her ankles, and she's like, I just did a quick lotion leg tanner because my legs were so ghastly white. And you just saw these like finger stretch marks like down by her ankles.
I do remember.
She's like, it looks so bad.
We are basically incapable of doing any kind of spray tanning, whether it's professional or hand done.
That's why I've always done tanning beds, because I'm like, I know it's not good for you, but it looks great.
Yeah. At least you don't have weird tear marks on your thigh or whatever. So the first time that made me laugh was, and this has been a long, arduous journey. First of all, we were people that laid out in the sun with olive oil on our skin.
Oh God, Mom's just like, what are those spray marks on the deck? And we're just like, we put cooking oil in the squirt bottle, but it was like the squirt bottle that you would use to like clean a bathroom.
Right.
Like I think we used to rinse out like old bathroom squirt bottles.
Yes.
And we would literally put like, it wasn't even like canola oil back then. It was just straight like just cooking oil, like
Wesson oil.
Like, exactly, like Wesson or something like that. And we'd squirt it on our body, rub it.
You guys are gonna get skin cancer.
You guys are gonna cook yourselves. How long were you out there? I don't know.
Hours.
I was just playing. Paula Marie, you're 9 years old. Why are you even putting that on your body?
God, we were the worst. And so then when you were getting married, you decided we all should get a spray tan. And so we said, yeah, that sounds...
No, you said, I got us a present.
Oh, yes.
Because you said we had a client who was so nice that gave us a deal that they would give each of us. We got two. We got two visits to get a spray tan, because spray tans were kind of the new thing in Sacramento specifically.
And they were one of the only few places where you could go into these nice big places and get sprayed from all angles and have a nice spray tan.
It was basically like standing in like a really big shower.
Yes.
Even bigger. God, those things were
they were cavernous.
It was almost like a walk-in closet.
It was, and dark. Why are they always so dark? I mean, it was kind of like a sauna. But anyway,
it kind of felt like something that would be in an arcade. That's what I remember.
I do remember. And the smell of the spray stuff has this chemically smell, like it's like leather, but not.
It was a little pungenty. I don't know.
It was. So we all.
I'm sure they've refined the process. I would think. I mean, is that more misty now? Like
I don't know.
It kind of felt more like those freaking showers they have now, where you turn them on, and then like there's like jets coming out from like 12 different angles, and you
that
feel like
makes me uncomfortable.
It's like quantum leap. Like,
I'm not doing that. It's like, what is this, a car wash? I don't want to be in that. I don't want that experience. It's so strange to me. It's like, why? Who needs to be that sprayed?
But
I don't know.
I hate the rain shower ones where they're like directly above your head and you just feel like you're getting urinated on. And I'm just like, come on. I'm like, I need jet. I'm like, I gotta rinse my hair.
We stayed at this really nice hotel in San Diego, and it was a rain one. And here's what was sucked about it for me. I hated it. I don't know about you, but this shower was basically open to the bedroom.
Oh.
You can put curtains around all the way around it, but if you don't want to, you don't have to. And so
I guess producer Deb preferred not to have the curtains.
Oh, Paula, he's so exhausting. Yes, of course he wanted it open.
He's like, leave it open.
He's like, why can't we leave it open? And I'm like, because I'm bathing. I don't want to turn it
my
in.
vagina. There's something sexy about that.
I don't want to turn this into a sex show.
I have hair in my butt crack that I need to pull out. Jesus.
Gross. I'm like, come on. I don't really want to do that. And so literally I saw like an errant eye every once in a while through the thing. And I'm like, God damn it.
One more glance from you, sir, and I will close this curtain.
I said, I don't want to watch you bathe. He goes, well, no one wants to watch that. And I'm like, well, I definitely don't want you to watch me.
I don't want to I want to look over and see the fucking goat in your hairy ass.
God, every day of my life, every time, you know what? No matter what, if you are coupled with a man, at some point they're going to bend over naked and you're going to be like, God, it is like a goat. You will say it to yourself. Now that I've said it to you, you will be like, God, it really does look like the goat's ass. Because it is.
Men's naked bodies, like sometimes, like they are very beautiful looking.
Beautiful.
But then at the wrong angle, you're just like, God, why is there so much ass and thigh and ball? Just like there's just something awkward about balls. I don't get it.
At some point, we all go through it where you get a weird angle and you make a face and you're like, ugh.
And then they turn around and look at you, you're like, what? And you're like, nothing. Nothing. I was thinking about something.
Well, I mean, and the thing is I don't think men do that. I think they think women's bodies are so beautiful that they just don't even think about it.
What if I was like bent over, like full cheek and asshole, and then they walked in? Well, they'd just see it as an opportunity.
They would be like, oh, would you like to be mounted right now? Okay.
Well, I mean, what guy doesn't walk up and like pretend to dry hump you like when you're doing that?
Oh, God.
It just happens. They'd be like,
just
hey.
happens.
And you're just like, stop it. I just was picking up a sock.
Anyway,
God.
In reference to spraying, we all got the spray tans. I didn't like it personally, and the first time I did it, I have really big boobs, but they don't droop, but they are large, and so obviously
I have to lift mine. Yeah.
Yeah. So the first time I didn't know. I stood there like I'm doing a jumping jack.
Well, that's what they told you. They're like, stick your hands up in the air like this.
Yes.
And put your palms to the back or something like that.
Right. And so just stand there and then let it get. So I did it. And I was like, okay, it was a little cold at first, but I did it. Now, the very first time I got a spray tan, it was perfect. I did the prep work properly. I had shaved every part of my body. The only thing that happened was I had big half moons on my like upper chest, like my rib area because of my boobs.
Right.
And so I'm like, oh, fuck. So the next time I've got to kind of like hold them and try to find a way to like, do that. But other than that, it was gorgeous and I loved it. I was like, oh my God, I love this. So then you go in and you're like, okay, this will be real fun.
Okay, so I got married on a Friday. So I think I went on like Tuesday or Wednesday
that
to
week,
get mine done. They explained the whole process. You put all the lotion on your nails and, all the parts you don't want to get tanned and, all that stuff. We have these teeny little thong things on, or I don't even know if I had that. No, I didn't have that on because I'm just like, I don't really need that. And so I'm standing there, same thing. I've got the shower cap on. I've got my eyes, squinted. I've got like the lotion on my eyebrows. My lips are tucked in, like, because you don't want your lips to get tanned. And I was waiting, and then all of a sudden you hear this, bzz, and then it starts to spray you in the midsection, and it's cold. It wasn't like warm. Right. It was a little cold, and then it just kind of fans you. And I was like, oh, well, it startled me. Yes. And so I started to pee a little bit. Like I squirted a little pee when it happened. Well, unfortunately, at that point, I still had very soft muscles. And so I couldn't stop the stream of urine. And so I peed all over the floor in the tanning booth.
Was there a drain?
Well, I think there was, because they have to be able to hose off the whole area like before the next person, because they have to keep it sanitary. At least that's what I tell myself.
I just remember when it happened, because we were all there together. And I remember all of a sudden it was... That was you.
And so I believe it was Allison that nicknamed me Mystic P, because they were called Mystic Tans.
Yes.
And so she called me Mystic P.
Now you're Mystic P
because
forevermore.
Paula, but that also because of the P. So I've been called Mystic P basically ever since, just on, rare occasions. But I just still claim that it startled me. And I should have probably drained my bladder. I didn't realize I had to go that bad. I mean, actually, I didn't even have to go that bad. I just had a little urine in my bladder. But they have to do, next time they get a spray tan or something like that, just make sure you don't have to go at all. That's all I'm saying.
And then what happened is the second time I went back afterward, I did not prep as well. And so I did the spray tan, and then we went to Santa Cruz the next day. And Daryl was like, "What's wrong with your legs?" And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" So the back of my thighs had like tiger stripes, because I either did not prep the area correctly, or I sat down on a bench I think I sat down on the bench in the tanning place, because they had those wooden teak benches you can sit on, and I left an imprint, and I was wearing shorts, of course, and we were there for the whole day. And so I'm like, I literally bought a sweatshirt and like wrapped it around, because it was so apparent. I look like a tiger. It was so embarrassing. I said, you know what? Spray tanning is not for me. I just don't think I can do it.
So by the time it was my wedding, we all looked really orange. And
we were orange.
We were like little tangerines.
Yes, we looked awful.
Illy fitted dresses.
We looked jaundiced.
Overweight tangerines.
We weren't overweight. Stop it. We were cute. Anyway, and then as far as trying to compensate by buying the stuff at the store, I've had so many horrible experiences with, the lotion and the spray, and it's like, ugh, forget it. If I cannot get tan the way I want to get tan, then I'm just going to be pale. I just don't even care.
Yeah, the only thing I did one time was, oh my God, I forgot about this. When Victor was in Iraq the first time, I was struggling to feel good about my body, because I had Ryan, and I had never looked like that before.
Right.
Because I had been thin my whole life. And so I wasn't used to like having parts that I was just like, God, I don't like this. And so I had that, I had read somewhere like, tanned fat looks better than just white fat. And so I'm like, well, maybe I'll just start tanning. And so
yeah.
By my work, there was this tanning place not too far. And so I signed up for like a tanning club or something, where you had like unlimited tans per month if you paid like a certain fee.
Right.
And so what I did is, on my lunch, I would drive over there. I'd go tan for like, 10 minutes, and then I'd come back.
I remember when you were doing that.
Then I bought this lotion, and it was like supposed to enhance the tan. It was like a pigment enhancer. Mm-hmm. The first time I used that stuff, I felt like I had little needles like shooting out of my skin.
Oh, it hurts? I
was laying in there. I was like, in fact, I think I did like the emergency button, because I'm like, I can't handle this. And then I looked in the mirror, and like my whole face and body. My skin was like red and blotchy.
Oh my
And I went back to the
God.
office and everyone's like, are you okay? You look a little flushed. I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. It's just hot outside.
What does it do? Does it like open your pores or something?
So I think what it's supposed to do is it's just supposed to like draw blood to your skin like faster
Jeez.
and cause your pigment to turn darker faster.
That seems dangerous.
Well, and I got like the low, like I didn't even get like the ultra or anything like that. I just got
Jeez.
like the regular, and I'm just like, holy shit. And I'm like, how do these there's like people who tan like all the time that
Yeah.
are like dark, and they use like the ultra high, crazy lotion stuff. I'm like, your skin must be like freaking shoe leather. So bad. How do you even deal with that?
Tanning is bad enough as it is, you know? And you know what's funny? I always think about this. You know, there was a time when being tan was a sign of being poor, and that rich people were very pale because they weren't out working, and that only poor people were thin and tan. Isn't that hilarious? How it's
Really?
changed? Yeah.
I wasn't trying to look like, you know, like a bleached blonde, you know,
No.
like freaking brown skin, tan, crazy person. I just was trying to, you know, have some color,
Right,
you know,
right.
And so that way I didn't look like I, you know, worked all day. So
Yeah.
I think I gave up on the tanning eventually because it was just such a hassle.
It is a hassle, and it's like a it's like a lifestyle after a while.
Not just that, after you're done, you have to clean up your own glass thing. And I'm like, why am I even paying for this?
Crazy. It's crazy. All right. Well, anyway, with all of that being said, we're going to do some ugly and awkward moments of the week. Tanning edition, which is why I mentioned our feeble attempts at tanning. We just, you know, there are certain things that we just shouldn't do. And I think tanning is one of them. Other people can do it, but I personally am not very successful in that area. So I'm just like, whatever. Okay, so here's the first story. I once went to a tanning bed with some friends. The lady at the desk asked, "Do you have any eyewear?" And I said, "Yes." She then said, "Is it on you? I need to see it." Thinking this was weird, I said yes and went to
Did she put them on?
said yes and went around the counter to show her. This entire time, I thought she was saying, "Do you have any underwear? Is it on you?" I proceeded to partially pull my pants down so she could see my underwear. She looked at me in disbelief while my friends were laughing, and the woman yelled, "No, I said eyewear." I didn't have any eyewear.
Yeah, actually, I even had my own little like
Those little
goggles.
figure eights,
those little things that you put on your nose, and they just like, you know,
those little
they're
spoons.
little eye bugs. Yeah.
Yes. That's funny. This one, and this reminded me of you, and this is why we're talking about this. I was getting a spray tan, and once I got naked to get into the machine, I realized I had to pee,
Same problem. She had the same problem, I bet. Okay, hold
but
on, I
couldn't
wanna
put
hear
my
this.
clothes back on because the mist machine was on a timer and I would miss it.
Exactly.
I went to the booth and tried to hold it in, but I ended up peeing in the machine the second the spray hit my body.
Of course.
I finished the tan and came out of the machine so I could clean it up. I had lines running down my legs from the pee for the rest of the week.
Oh, that's a slow stream. I must be a hard pisser or something.
You must be like a horse.
Gee, well, I mean, how close were her legs? I don't know. Mine were spread pretty far. Jeez, what does that say when she says spread your legs? And I'm just like fucking, you know, spreading them like I'm about to get laid.
Well, no, but even if you do that, what if it was just a dribble? Then it would just like it just kind of come out the side and just kind of slowly roll down your leg. But if you have to pee, it's going to be a stream. So,
Or you just had a baby and it just falls out like you're having another baby.
like a
Just,
waterfall.
You know, it's like, like your urethra's vomiting.
Totally.
God, projectile vomiting urine.
Oh God, our vaginas are such a pain in the ass. I swear
They
to God.
are.
Okay, well that's all I have for today.
Yeah. Well, thanks for the letters. That was awesome. And I loved the ugly and awkward moments. That was great too. Father's Day is coming up. And actually, I was on the Amazon page the other day, and they do have a section on gifts or just gifts, I guess.
For
is what it's
dad.
called. I didn't see any for dad. Maybe it's there now. It's at the top and it says gifts, and then you click on it, and then it lets you select like for who, and it's like for him.
Okay.
And then it has like a price range, and they had some really cool stuff, like very creative thinking things that you wouldn't normally think of. Cool. And then, so be sure to do that because it's going to sneak up. I think it's on the 17th, we decided.
Yeah.
Anyways, all right, friends, thanks for joining us. We will see you on Sunday, and enjoy your week. We'll talk to you soon. Bye.
Thanks for listening and sharing the show. See you next time on The Ugly Truth.